open to a presidential run. Though he dislikes politics, the TV host says he's fed up. Black Minnesota Senate President Bobby Joe Champion is stepping down as ethics chair amid conflict of interest claims. He backed a $1 million grant for a nonprofit he once represented, but says it was pro bono and did not require disclosure. Seattle will pay $950,000 to African-American Captain Eric Greening, who sued former police chief Adrian Diaz for racial discrimination and retaliation. He's the seventh officer to sue the department following 6 women who also accused leaders of discrimination and harassment. And funeral services were held for former Utah Congresswoman Mia Love, who died at 49 after battling brain cancer. She was the first Black Republican woman in Congress and Utah's first Black lawmaker. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
Whoa. Now. What's up, good people? What's good? I guess that's a good way to start it. What's good? I know. Ain't that something? All right, folks. What is today? Tuesday? It's Tuesday. Something when you start losing track of the days. Gerard Stevens with you. The reality check is in full effect. Up until the 6 o'clock hour. Our number 504-582-9422. That's 504-582-9422. A lot to talk about to get it in for the next 2 hours or so. I wanted to get this in yesterday, but I did not. And I'm trying to figure out for all of our folks on Facebook, did you see what they were calling an April Fool's joke from your governor? Saying that the state of Louisiana was going to turn the French Quarter, the name of the French Quarter, into the American Quarter. Did anybody get a chance to see where they were playing what they called a joke, I guess, on us? Made a video and put it out there and everything, saying that they were going to turn the French Quarter into the American Quarter. Had the Treasury Secretary up there doing an official video, and I was like, I wonder, was that something that they were trying to see, that if they did bring it up, that they'll see how we felt about it. But if we started saying, oh, hell no, then they come back and say, well, it was just a joke. So that really, it didn't scare me, but it made me say, boy, this state going to be copycat, and more copycat, and everything that his daddy doing. Everything that his daddy is doing. Now, I got another part that I got to bring up. And Mr. Elmore, I'm coming. It looks like the head hog cheese is going to put us in a recession. Oh, they said the stock market rebounded back 1,200 points. But today, I don't know what it is now. I'm going to look before we get out of this hour. But the whole point has been and is to me, what you put us there for? For what reason? Premature? Just for the hell of it? That's what you felt like? And you said we're going to rebound from these tariffs. Well, it looked like today, the Queen of Nambia, I called her Miss Wakanda, put it out there in Africa. And I don't know if anybody else is paying attention to this, but she put it out there in the world today that all the Americans that are coming over to Nambia better have their cards and they all of their green cards and all of their passports and everything, because they said it's about 400 people over there. And if they don't if they don't have it, they could be deported. But we shall see. I don't think she's playing. Mr. Elmore.
Hey, brother, how you doing, man?
Good, Doctor. How you doing?
You got a good name for him, hog head cheese.
Yeah, the hog head cheese. That's what it is, the hog head cheese.
Oh boy, look, this is the thing. You've been talking to me. The more I talk to you, the more I want to talk to you.
Oh yeah.
I feel huh?
I feel impotent.
You better believe y'all.
You made me feel that way.
Well, you are. And no, but all jokes aside, Gerard, the more I talk to you, the more I want to talk to you, and the more I get used to you, the more I want to get used to you. But this is the thing, Gerard. Now, this is the thing. I have said to you more than one that I'm not a caller that try to be controversial with you because 99 out of 9 or 10 things I agree with you, bro.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I love about you very respectful if you disagree, But this is the thing I'm saying. I try to do my homework when I get on the talk show because I know people listen to what you say.
Yeah, they listen. They listen. They
Don't make them in that shit. Look, I had people. You may think I'm lying. I've called you to the point. I'm talking to people on the bus and they say, "Hey man, your name is Elmore." I said, "Yes, sir." Yeah, so be okay. I said, "That's good. You need to call them too, then."
Well, I mean, I call you that because that's your name, right, Mr. Elmore?
Yes, sir.
And I'm always gonna call you Mr. Elmore.
Right. And no, I didn't think you said it wrong, Joe. I'm just saying, people do listen to you because I talk, and people heard my voice and say, "Oh man, I heard you gonna be okay." So I like again, I said, "Well, since you hear me, won't you call Gerard talk too?" Well, This is my point. When you look at the French quarters, and I do my homework, I try to do more research when I do research. Because sometimes you look at something, you think you know something. The quarters originally, brother, it's not French. The Cabildo and all that was under Spanish rule.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that because of racism and what's going on today would even be more understandable, that when you look at what Americans call Hispanic, that's not considered white. But if you say you're a Spaniard, you're white. But if you go to Spain and see those women, you go berserk. You might be brighter than them. But that's the point. Spain is considered white. So they don't want to say Spanish because people say, "Oh, that's Hispanic." They're not white. You get the point? So I think that's the throwback on American history that sometimes you have to research because I don't go by what people tell me. I do research and I read,
So did you hear what I was talking about when we were supposedly having this social media influx of stuff coming from the state, talking about that they were going to change the French Quarter to the American Quarter? Did you hear that?
Yeah, I think it's bizarre. I read this governor very well. He has to be in a great endearment to his daddy, dear leader. And I guess the more he goes over dear leader, the more Trump will say, "Daddy boy, daddy boy, daddy boy, daddy boy." But it's gonna look. All that's gonna. What's going on with Trump's Gerard? I'll be honest with you. You can't make enemies with the whole world with those tariffs.
That's what we're doing, though.
And that's what he's doing.
Yep.
And it's going to backfire.
Yep.
And who is going to hurt American people? But again, George, I'm going to tell you the same thing I told you. I'm a Vietnam veteran, cancer survivor, COVID survivor. I could deal with beans with no meat. I could hunker down.
Mm-hmm.
I could go in the field and live because I just did it and done it in the military. So I don't care what he do, that fool. He gonna wind up hurting a lot of white folks more than us. Trust me. And they crying right now, and they gonna be ever loving crying. But let's let the games begin. So I say, and I think it may change sooner than later.
Well, my point would be that we have been resilient for this many years. A lot of us are quiet right now, and I think I made the first probably outcry of why everybody being quiet, why everybody being so quiet, all this stuff going on. And then I had a great conversation. I don't know if you were listening that day, but Don Hubbard stopped by here, and I had a great conversation on and off the air with Don Hubbard. And Don Hubbard told me, as a matter of fact, I saw him yesterday, but Don Hubbard told me, he said, he said, man, as much as you talk about these politics that's happening in these, from Washington, D.C. and across the country, that all politics is local. Just pay attention to what's going on around you. You'd be surprised on how much of that would relate to everywhere else. So you need to really start paying attention to what's going on around you. And as I thought about what he was saying, because, I had to contemplate on it just a tad bit, I really got to tell you, he really was telling the truth, because as you see, a lot of stuff that's going on around the world, and especially out of Washington, D.C., the same thing is coming home. Because you would believe that this man, who is our governor, is going to always try to do what he sees happening in Washington, D.C., cleaning up the budget, trying to get all these different things going, trying to get all this stuff past the Constitution. And where do you think he's getting that from? You think he's smart enough to do it himself? I don't think so. I think that he's paying attention to everything that's happening in Washington and trying to bring it down here and localize it.
Now, I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm not ashamed to say I don't know, because I know what I know and I know what I don't know. And I always like to talk. That's how I learn, by talking to you and other people that may call after me. What I pay attention to, when you look at our people, Gerard, I'm talking about me, you, our people who fought hard for our civil liberties, human liberties, the quality of life as we know it today. And our founding fathers of our democracy, and founding heroes of our democracy, they wrote the book on activism. They wrote the book on revolution. They wrote the book on rebellion. And I think it's so strange that all over the world, people who rebelled and revolt took the playbook from us. Even in Poland, if you can remember, they took the playbook by saying, "We shall overcome,"
right.
And they were showing the Black Madonna.
So let me ask you this before you go on, because this is important. I'm gonna forget what you saw this past weekend.
Oh, I seen a lot of white folks.
You see any of us?
A ton of white folks. Gerard, I was looking, unless I'm colorblind. I mean, because I know I need glasses. Don't laugh. I need glasses, Gerard. But I'm not that dumb, that blind. But I didn't see it's man.
You ain't see us out there. You ain't see us out there.
I didn't see them many. I didn't see. I see the few was out there. And it kind of shocked me, Gerard. Because again, I'm saying the Noonie Mans of the world were not there. Look, the Noonie Mans of the world were not there. We didn't see people out there, huh?
I was all over social media, and I had a couple of TikTokers that I was getting ready to play them, but I said, nah, I ain't gonna play them. That were white, that were asking the question, where are our brothers and sisters, our African American brothers and sisters standing with us? I'm like, where y'all when we need y'all to stand with us? We all right. We gonna be all right. We're going to be all right. But they looking and say, well, where are we at? I think that's really interesting that if you turn the tables, they don't never come stand with us.
And I agree. And I'll go a little further than that. Put your thinking cap on. This is something to think about. I never heard nobody mention. I'm not saying I'm the smartest tool in the shed. I did notice during January when Trump had his cronies up there marching to the up there in the Capitol, I had the nerve to see Vietnamese flags flying. I said, ain't this a trip? They were disgruntled too. So it just goes to show you, that's why I'm so proud of my people, Joe. I could be more proud of my people because we're the only ones stood up for everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody got civil. Look, the world got civil liberties because of Afro-American rebellion.
Right.
Gerard, Come on, brother.
Oh, well.
Don't get me wrong, man. I mean, I try to get good information. I don't try to just come on your radio station just to hear my voice. I like to say something, give you something back.
Are you saying
it? Well, I am, huh?
You saying it? You saying a whole lot.
No, wait. What I got one more thing I want to ask you. The brother that calls all the time. I can't think of his name. Yella. How Yella doing?
I haven't heard from him. I need to hear from
I
him.
I haven't heard from him in a while because I like listening to him, the brother. But I ain't heard from old Yella in a while. Hope he's all right.
Yeah, he probably just sitting back listening.
Yeah, well, he might be curious that I said it, but I listen to him a lot. Don't know the brother, but I wish I did. But
Okay.
I hope he's okay.
All right, Mr. Elmore. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you again.
All right, brother.
All right,
Thank you,
talk to you
buddy.
in a minute. James, what you say?
You got it. Look, man, Mr. Elmo on 10, as always. I just want to say this. If we don't start focusing locally, we can't control nothing nationally.
Mm-hmm.
We got to get in on accord locally. I said that this morning with the good doctor. I say that all the time. If we don't focus on what's going on locally, we can't control nothing going on nationally. So our skin folk got to get on code. Our kinfolk got to be on, got to stay on code, and we all got to get on code. So, just like we're not participating with the suffrage now, the suffrage movement now. Maybe some stuff will happen. I'm sorry. Apologize. I know I can't take it back, but I'm gonna say this again. If we don't get on the same page locally, we can't be on the same page nationally.
Right.
So I'm gonna get my back out the way because I know I done messed up. So
That's all right, bro. I appreciate it. Thank you, James.
Yep.
All right. Interesting. You got to have your local team together before you get on the national team. That's interesting that I got that from the master. I saw him yesterday for lunch, Don Hubbard, and it made me go, What is it that we need to start working on locally? And we got all these elections coming up. October, November? We got a millage in, when is that, May? Is it May? Got a millage in May. That's going to be for the jail. We had and it's not a new millage, it's a renewal. We have all these different local elections for the city of New Orleans coming up in October and November. October is the election. November, the primary, and November is going to be the runoff. And it's not just going to be for a new mayor. It's going to be for the sheriff. It's going to be for city council persons. It's going to be for a couple of the judges. It's going to be for your clerk of courts. It's going to be for a lot of folks. That's going to be interesting to see how they react to this election, because I think in New Orleans, more people are starting to pay attention to how this rolls. But the question is, are you? For the amount of money that you're paying to live here, whether we're talking about the cost of your mortgage or your rent, whether we're talking about the cost of your insurance, your house note, interest rates, groceries, and how you are keeping your infrastructure together, whether we are talking about the roads, the buildings. I have never, since I've been here, I've never seen the number of buildings that just are falling down because they're crumbling because of the infrastructure. I think at one point in time in the last couple of weeks, we probably had 2 or 3 buildings at the same time that just crumbled, the bricks and stuff falling in the street. Thank God nobody was under and got killed. But have we thought about how our infrastructure is? Who's going to be in one of those buildings next time that it decides to crumble? And who's checking the checkers? We shall see. All right, we'll take our first break of the day. We'll come back, take some more of your telephone calls. All politics. Got to be local. You agree? Disagree? Let's talk about it. 504-582-9422 is the number. More coming up, y'all. Everybody hold tight.
Late nights are made for chillin', and you can do just that every Sunday night at 10 p.m. as DJ Wick brings you The Love Zone. It's the perfect way to top off your weekend with your favorite old and new school ballads. So sit back, relax, and let DJ Wick take you to the Love Zone. on WBOK 1230 AM and on the World Wide Web at WBOK1230.com.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana companies through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about what the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation does, please visit www.jazzandheritage.org.
Welcome to Chemical of the Month by the community scientists at Rise St. James. This month we spotlight phthalates, chemicals added to plastics, especially PVC, to make them more flexible and durable. But there's more. Research shows phthalates may disrupt hormones, affect reproductive health, and contribute to environmental pollution impacting our communities. Join us as we explore how these additives shape our everyday lives and the world around us. For more details, visit risestjames.org. Empower your knowledge with Rise.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM. Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back. Hoping everybody's having a great day. It feels so good outside. Make you want to stay outside and do nothing. Just nothing. All right, my number 504-582-9422. 504-582-9422. So as we talk about what we're getting ready to get into in this election season, I'm telling you, these months are going by here fast. We're going to be in May, real quick, fast, and in a hurry here within the next, 3 weeks? June, July is going to be right here. And July is the month that all those that are running for any office have to qualify. They have to do it in July. If you're going to run to get on the ticket, you have to qualify in July. So if you're thinking about it, you need to go ahead on and make your mind up at least by July. All right? So I looked around and I said to myself, as I was thinking about my buddy Don Hubbard, because I saw him yesterday, and he said when he was here, bruh, politics is local. You need to start talking about your local politics, because anything that's happening around you locally is going to be here. And stop worrying about what the orange man is doing. I said, you might have a point there. So I'm looking around and I'm saying to myself, what's wrong with this city? So should I put that down as my question for you all today, so y'all can tell me? Maybe I should make it sound politically correct. What's wrong with this city, but what's right about this city? What makes you stay? Something's right about this city that makes you stay, because any other time you would have got up and said, oh, hell to the no, if you were living in Houston, or if you was living in Dallas, or if you was living in Atlanta, you would have got up and left. But what makes you stay? Come on, somebody. Don't let the phone catch you not picking it up. And you that's in the car right now talking to yourself, yeah, I'm talking about you. Be like, how he know I'm in here talking to myself? That ain't who needs to hear you, because you hearing yourself. Yeah, but Gerard, I don't want to call because I don't want nobody to hear me on the radio. Don't flatter yourself that much. People don't know you. Don't flatter yourself that much. Somebody gonna know who I am. That's okay. And when they come up and tell them what you said. 504-582-9422. So I'm going to make the question a little bit more politically correct. And that is, what is it that keeps you here, that makes you stay here? Because all of us have complained about this city, whether we're talking about the infrastructure, buildings, whether we're talking about the high rent, the high cost of your insurance, the high cost of what else? To fix your car after the streets done tow the undercarriage of your car up because they're so raggedy. I'm gonna give you this story. Sunday morning, I got up, I got dressed after I took my shower and put on my little suit, and I was headed to church. They were like, Gerard went to church? I go to church every Sunday. And usually 4 and 5 of them At least 4 or 5 of them now, anyway, because I'm with the sheriff. But as I thought about it, I got off of 610 right at Franklin Avenue, and as I got off at 610, I was going down the street, and I think because I'm so used to going, I know what parts of the street I need to get in the left lane and then move to the right lane, straddle the lane, move over to the left side so you don't hit this bump on this side, and I know where to go. It's like an obstacle course. And I thought about that as I was talking about the infrastructure and how they want to say that this is good, this is good, this is good. But how many of you have driven down Franklin Avenue in the last 6 months? And I got to tell you, it's getting worse. What you say, cousin?
Hey, cuz.
What's going on?
I'm all right. How you making out?
I'm trying to be like you when I grow up. That's all.
No, you already grown. My mama didn't clone no 2 sons.
That's
just
okay.
one.
That's all right. I know whose pocket's deeper.
Well, that might be true.
I see that. If you claim it, I'm with you. So, what you got? You sound a little under the weather. You all right?
Oh no, I'm fine. Thanks for asking. I am fine.
Okay.
I had a little scare. I'd eaten some gumbo that was too spicy, too salty. Sent my pressure up. But
that ain't nothing to play with. You know that, right?
Look. I didn't think I'll get that reaction.
Mm-hmm.
So a friend of mine said, a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar and a glass of water will bring your pressure down. So I did that a couple of times. So
a couple of times. How bad did it go up?
It was 188 over 83.
Oh, you trying to stroke out?
Well, I'm just saying. Look, I couldn't walk. My head was spinning.
Yeah, you trying to stroke out?
Yeah, woozy, dizzy, all that kind of stuff. And that's the first time that ever happened to me.
Don't play.
No, I don't play. I have de-spice my food.
Yeah, take that salt out.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I said, I never added salt to my food anyway. But I was at a banquet, and they served the gumbo. You're trying to.
Hold on, here go the question. Here, after you figured out that it was spicy, it had all that spice in it and all that salt in it. Did you eat the whole bowl?
Believe it or not,
okay.
I did.
I know. No. That's not no believe it or not. I know you did. That's why I had to ask. Because if you had figured it out just by a couple of spoonfuls, you should have stopped eating it. Now, I'm not going to fuss no more, but I'm just telling you, you ain't as young as you used to be. I know you think you are. Stop playing.
No, look. I'm like the kids now. I'll be 80 years old next year.
What kid you talking about? Because I don't know no kids that's gonna be 80.
You know you ask the children how old they are.
Okay.
They 7, but they be 8 next year. They say I'm 8. They want to be older than what they really are.
The whole point of you even saying that come from old folks. So you need to be quiet with that and stop playing. That ain't nothing to play with, though. I'm being serious, but I'm playing with you. I'm just saying, that ain't nothing to play with.
But that's all good. I mean, people who listen, that's a little information for them as well.
Don't make me call Jason.
Yeah. But the question you asked, I'm here, number one, I made this wait. Our mother and father made this their home.
Mm-hmm.
So neither one of them are from New Orleans.
They're not
so they came here, and since I was born here, I made New Orleans my home.
Why?
Now, I'm gonna lay a fact to you. I have traveled 43 of the 50 states, and I have traveled to 4 of the 5 continents. And I'll get another one next year to leave me 2. So everywhere you go, they have pretty much the same propaganda. This is the best ever place to be. And, we could minimize, when a hurricane is coming.
So, but let me ask you this, because you said something in your statement. You think this is the best place to be?
That's why I'm still here.
If I didn't think it was, I wouldn't be here.
But that's what I'm trying to get to. Why you think this is the best place to be? I'm not trying to make you say something, say, well, yeah, I need to get up and go or nothing like that. I'm just trying to figure out what is it that keeps you here?
Like I said, it's our home. And I'm content. Yes, we have some bad streets. But look, I have been other places that their streets are bad too.
Mm-hmm.
And I was surprised when I did run into some bad streets. But everybody pretty much have money problems for maintaining streets in all neighborhoods. I'm going to put it to you like that. I'm content about the weather. That's, here in New Orleans, the Tropicana city of the South.
Mm-hmm.
And people are coming here more than they're going to California and New York.
To vacation. Meaning that they're going to be here for a couple of days and then they turn around and go back. So they're coming to visit. But I'm trying to figure out what is it for the folks that got the lifestyle of New Orleans in their blood that's going to keep them here. When we talk about and deal with on a daily basis the issues that seem to be life-changing or affecting lifestyle. Does that make sense?
Gee, look, like I said, I've been to a lot of other cities. Everybody got crime problems.
Everybody got something.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting here trying to criticize. You got to think about something. I ain't from here, and I've been here 35 years. I came down here for 2 years, and I've been here ever since.
Yeah. So and I'm gonna say, New Orleans is a better place because of people like you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I call that you got a stiff back and you're an intelligent person. So that's two other plus. I could give another, couple more as well, but your head is big enough, so I don't want to make your head any larger than what it is.
I owe you some money. That's what
No, you don't. You I make donations and stuff like that, so we good.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's your home, it's your home.
Right.
Gee, look, I have slept in a lot of beds, but it's something about my bed I sleep better in.
Yeah, that you left that one wide open. It took me everything not to say nothing about that one. I just want to let you know. Mm-hmm.
That's all right. Like I said, I'm a travel man. Oh yeah. That's straight up.
All right.
It just familiarity of where you are, and like I said, this weather is fine for me.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And we don't have much of a winter. So right. I'm good. I ain't got to worry about sliding off the road on icy days and all that.
There you go.
But every area has a problem.
Okay. I got you.
And home is home.
Home is home.
Home is where you make it. That's what I want to say, too. Home is where you make it.
I got you. All right,
all
sir.
Right, cuz.
Thank you, cousin. I'll talk to you later.
All right.
All right. Ty, what you say, baby?
What's going on, G?
You.
Your question. Very interesting.
This is the question I don't think anybody else asked. And if they did ask it, and if they did ask it on the radio, I got to tell you, if nothing else, it's making a lot of people think.
True. I even sat here on my drive in the traffic, and I'm thinking, to be honest with you, the only thing that keeps me here, and I'm being completely honest, are my aging parents.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to make sure that everything is okay with them, and the upkeep of their house and things like that. But other than that, I'd be out of here on a shooting bullet.
So are they from here?
They are. We were born and raised here, so my parents are from here.
Mm-hmm.
My grandma she'll be 94 this year, so
mm-hmm.
born and raised here. But my spirit is not in New Orleans. At one time it was.
It ain't in your blood?
Here.
Ty, it ain't in your blood? Come on.
I mean, listen, I understand the culture of it, things of that sort, but to be honest with you, I think I was born in the wrong city because I'm a country girl at heart. I want to be somewhere where I'm secluded from it. I don't like people like that.
Now that's disturbing. What you mean you don't like people like that? What does that mean?
I don't know. I'm just over people.
I'd be like, hey, how you doing? Don't ask me that. I don't like you. Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed.
But yeah, I mean, I love the culture of New Orleans. Like, you know, like every year I
Ty,
ride for Mardi Gras, things of that sort.
Can I tell you something about you?
What?
You ready?
I guess.
You a socialite. How in the hell you gonna tell me
No,
you don't
I'm
like
not.
people like? Yes, you are.
I'm not.
Ty, you are. You like to go and be a part of conversations. I done seen you at different events I've thrown. I got photos. You know, make me post no photos of you. I got photos because you like to be. You like to be where the information is. You want to be a part of the conversation. You can't get that talking to no chickens and no cows and horses.
Well, see, here's the thing. That only happens for a short period of time, and then after that's over, I go back into my space. See, I'm an extroverted introvert.
I'm sorry, what? You what?
Yeah. I'm an extroverted introvert.
Did you make that up?
I did not. It just, I'm one of those people that I could go out and people a little bit, but then after that, I got to go back in. But when I'm out, I'm just people are drawn to me for whatever reason. Okay, so you know, conversation, things of that sort or whatever. That's cool. But I'm not the one that's be like, you know, somebody's like, give me your phone number. I'm good. I don't want to talk to you after this.
You know, you made me look it up on the internet. Extroverted introvert. Someone who exhibits traits of both introversion and extroversion, finding balance between enjoying social interaction and needing solitude to recharge.
Right. Yep, that's me.
But if you had to choose between the two, the introvert or the extroversion part, which one would be first?
Because I am a person of social justice and I love things of that sort and trying to get information out there, like you said, I would say extrovert first in that sense. But if we're talking about partying and out, that's not introvert, definitely.
No, not necessarily. Now, look, I ain't trying to tell you to put your boots on the ground. I ain't trying to tell you where them fans at, because a lot of us are past that in our lifetime, but I'm trying to figure out, because one of the things that bothers me about New Orleans, and somebody going to call me and say, well, you know, that is true, but when I first moved here, New Orleans, to me, had a lot of great stuff for the middle class. A lot of us that thought alike, that were hanging out together, that were partying or going to different social events. We had the same agenda, that is to feed my family, have a great job, and be able to get the things that I need for my lifestyle, my house, my cars, my children. Then after Katrina, to me, something changed, that the middle class of New Orleans kind of moved away. So what I saw was, and this ain't everybody, but if the shoe fits, some people need to wear it, that you either had a lot or you were going from job to job to job just to try to make ends meet. So you were more than likely poor.
Right.
Where was the middle ground? Where did the middle ground go?
I think that after Katrina, you know, and I've heard this when I worked with the homeless population for a while, because what people don't know is either that or don't really realize is that a lot of times people come here, you made a point when you said they come here to vacation and go back. A lot of times what tended to happen was we also had that middle class that thought that when they left, you know, things would just be better. But they realized they missed the culture so much that they came back, and then when you came, you realize you didn't have the things that you had when you left.
Well,
so I think that a lot of the middle class were in this imbalance.
And vice versa.
You know,
I would throw vice versa in there too. I would throw vice versa in there too, because when a lot of people left here, got on that helicopter with that one-way ticket, when they picked you up for Katrina and dropped you off in another part of the country, what you found out too was that you could get a whole lot better and not live in squalor, meaning that, okay, that house that you had or that place where you staying, that you paying for a certain amount of money, that you could get a bigger house with a better quality of life, schools right around the corner, better job.
Better schools.
Right. And you found out that living there, the lifestyle was a little bit better.
Right. And I think that Katrina, it was an eye-opener on so many different levels, because some people had never been out of New Orleans. So when they left New Orleans, it was like, I didn't know that you could live like this.
Right.
They thought that their way of living here was just the life until they went elsewhere and was like, I didn't realize I was living so bad.
And you got to remember that there were 150,000 people that did not come back after Katrina.
Right.
Now, some people couldn't get away from it, and they missed it, and they had to come back home. But there was 150,000 folks that either they spent too long in that location and had to, put some seeds in the ground here and got roots because they had to send the kids to school, they got a job,
right?
And they had put roots down in that location, and they were like, no need to change. I'm here now.
Right. And especially when you see kids are thriving in a certain type of way, and they're, the educational level is better. I think it just, I heard that from a lot of parents, where they're like, why would I come back when my child is, getting a better education and, they're not getting in fights and this, that, and the other. And then opposite, I heard that, the kids were constantly getting in fights. So I think it just, I don't know, it was on two different spectrums,
right.
Two ends of the spectrum or what have you, you could look at. And then you had the middle ground. For myself, I missed New Orleans like crazy. I was in Dallas. But the funny thing is, when I got back here, I did all of the touristy stuff. I stayed in the French Quarter, did all the shopping. I did all of that. Mm-hmm. But the older I got, I realized that, and especially after learning a few things about myself being on the spectrum, I was like, I don't really like this anymore. Certain things that I used to like and was comfortable with, I don't have that anymore.
Okay.
So for me, I'm just drawn elsewhere.
Okay. All right. So this is going to be an interesting conversation today then, huh?
I would hope so.
Yeah. Thank you, my love. Appreciate you much.
All right. Have a good one, G.
Talk to you later. All right, Kevin.
Hey, Gerard. Man, thank you, first of all, for having this conversation. And all the conversations that you have, quite frankly. And look, until black people, and I say black people, now I really hesitate using that term because in reality, humanity have been made insane by racism, white supremacy, and classism. Because the bottom line is this. People like to say, oh, well, I study. It depends on what you're studying, depending on what you're really getting. Garbage in, garbage out. If you're studying garbage, you're getting garbage. Okay? Look, there's one race of people, and it's called human beings. Everything else is a artificial construct, political construct. Made real in the sense that if you are responding to garbage, that garbage becomes real because the people who following it are actually creating the reality of that new culture. And I say culture because culture is what a group of people do and accept as a standard of acceptable behavior from that group.
Mm-hmm.
Until we start thinking on a more elevated level, man, we're going to be acting like primitives forever. And I say we, the same thing I'm talking about, that's why I say I hesitate saying black, because this is really about the 99% that's being taken advantage of by the 1%. Always have been ever since the dawn of civilization. Okay? If you, like I said, he who has the gold makes the rule. Mm-hmm. If you know better, you take advantage of the people who don't know better. That's why we have the grotesque inequity between wealth in this world, quite frankly, not just this country. So look, we're delusional. Not only black people, most people are delusional. The 99% for the most part are delusional. That's why we are the 99%.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And denial is not a river in Africa. In fact, denial is a very expensive luxury. It's why we're talking about this in the terms being framed the way it's being framed. The bottom line is the most important thing on the planet, always has been, is human beings in our interactions with each other.
All right.
Because that would build the pyramids.
Cool.
That would build spaceships. That would build economies. Why we like to live here? Because, first of all, the weather is absolutely beautiful. Who wants to live in the cold, where in the dead season most of the year? Okay. The next thing is New Orleans has a gregarious social culture that you don't find most anywhere in the world, quite frankly. And anybody who ever been to New Orleans from anywhere in the world will tell you that. Okay? Now, we talk about how it used to be and how it is other places. What we're missing is the main point, the main ingredients of this whole conversation that no one's talking about. People in those places actually created the culture that you're talking about, you're gravitating toward. Somebody did the work. The bottom line is this.
Okay.
We starting off with an advantage over the rest of the world because we are a gregarious culture. And when I say gregarious, human beings interacting with each other and the benefits of that. Look, people pay good money for psychotherapy or talk therapy. All you have to do is go outside New Orleans and you got all the therapy you need. You don't get that nowhere else.
Okay.
Okay? So the bottom line is this. If we're serious about this, we got to think at a more elevated level. Other than that, we're going to get what people who don't think at elevated level get. They get to stay the 99%. So until we start working together and building something together, we're going to always be in trouble.
I got you. All right, brother. Appreciate the call, man. We got to take my break. Thank you, Kev. All right, Cedric, hold on. We're coming right back. More in just a minute.
I'm Leo Jackson, host of Sunday Gospel here every Sunday morning, 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. and 12 o'clock till 2 p.m. You don't want to miss this move of God. It happens only on WBOK. You listen to all day long.
Connect with NOLA Public Schools. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and X for the latest updates. Sign up for District Digest, our official newsletter where we share district achievements, celebrate student successes, and keep you informed about our vision of providing a high-quality education. And don't miss our school board meetings. Watch in person or live stream on YouTube. Stay informed. Stay engaged. Visit NOLAPublicSchools.com today. Again, that's NOLAPublicSchools.com.
WBOK and LCMC Health are proud to present Keeping You Well Cafe, 60 Minutes with LCMC Health, where the doctors speak directly to the people of New Orleans. LCMC Health is committed to improving the quality of care here in New Orleans, the Gulf South, and beyond. The Keeping You Well Cafe is another way for LCMC Health to engage with the community. At the Keeping You Well Cafe, LCMC Health joins WBOK and local businesses to answer your questions about wellness and health.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I'm Wendell Pierce. Thanks for making WBOK your station. WBOK.
Here we go. The Reality Check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back. My number 504-582-9422. What you say, Cedric? Thanks for holding.
Hey, Gerard, how you doing today?
Good, brother. What's going on with you?
Gerard, the main topic you were talking about, why people don't want to leave here, come back here and can't get away. You know, I was born and raised here. My mother, she wasn't born and raised here. My father wasn't either. They kind of migrated here.
Wait a minute. Say that again now?
Excuse me?
No, I said say that again.
No, I say my parents wasn't from here. They sort of migrated here. Things happened, and
Okay.
they came here. I used to use the excuse when I was a younger man before I had a family. The reason I didn't want to leave, when I got out of high school, I had a full scholarship to Wayne State in Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
Ken folks lived up there. Man, it's too cold. But I was a mama's boy. I wasn't leaving mama. That was my excuse. And then as I had a family, and then Katrina hit. Man, I left here. I went to Houston. Man, I was sick.
You were sick?
I had so many opportunities, Gerard. I mean, because I got skills, bro. I'm a master gas fitter, a broiler man, all kind of stuff. I got skills. But I had to come back here, man.
Why?
I just had to. I had to come back home. I hated that place.
No, that ain't
I'm
good
a
enough. I
homeless boy.
need you to explain to me why. Not I had to come back, but
Well,
for what?
Well, I'm gonna tell
Because
you
you
one
came
thing.
back to
my
nothing.
My money base was here.
Your money
all
base.
my dry cleaning people. Yeah, all my dry cleaning people.
Cedric, come on, bro. Won't nobody here. When you started thinking about, I got to come back home, we were still out of town for a while. You remember? Okay, let me put it in perspective.
No, we came back here for Thanksgiving. I was home by Thanksgiving.
No,
My wife had to
but let
come
me
back
put
to
it in
go to work.
perspective for you because, see, it hurt a lot of people's feelings when they came back here because they didn't realize why the grass was. How long was the grass brown? You remember that? The grass wasn't even green. There was no leaves on the trees. The top of the
And I know it
Superdome,
was
the white on
It was
top of the
stinking,
Superdome
Gerard.
had come off. Huh?
It was stinking. I passed two places, two grocery stores. One was on Franklin and Claiborne there.
Mm-hmm.
It stunk blocks away. There used to be the National Food Store at Canal in Carrollton. Man, it stunk to high heaven. You couldn't hardly get nothing to eat.
And you
But I
had to
was
stand
home,
in
bro.
line just to get gas. And you had to bring your gas pails too so that you can get a gallon or two gas so that you could put it in there for the generators because we didn't have electricity.
Well, the thing with me, Gerard, I was living in the French Quarter, not living in the French Quarter. My nephew was a professional painter, and he did work for a lot of hotels, and we usually stayed in the hotels I stayed there for like about a month, doing work back and forth. So I had work here, and I couldn't get around in Houston, man. I just couldn't, but Gerard.
When I first went to Houston, I got to tell you, my first couple of days was terrible. Not because I hadn't been there before, because I kept getting lost in that daggone. I kept going around and around in a circle.
Round and around. Yeah, I know about that one.
You know what I'm talking about? And that what's that called? The Beltway? What is that called? I kept getting lost. I said, wait a minute, that looked like I just passed that like 20 minutes ago. I couldn't find the right exits. I got off on one exit. Next thing I know, I was on 45 headed to Dallas. I'm like, how
and
did
they
I
had
get
some
here?
nice their service roads were better than our interstates.
And I get off on some of the service roads, and they have a toll, and I ain't carrying no cash.
Ooh, yep.
and look, in some of those places, they didn't have nobody there. It was like it was automated, so you either put the money in there, or that arm wouldn't go up. And then it'd be taking pictures of your driver's license. I had so many tickets.
But Gerard, I guess I was the chief cook, and everybody had plenty of food stamps except me. I was probably the only man in the whole Katrina that didn't get no food stamps. I didn't.
No,
everybody
I
had
got
food
mine.
stamps,
Mine
and I
was
was
$200.
the chef, and I was cooking.
Yes, I did.
But I never went too far. I knew where Kinko's was. I know where Fiesta was. I knew where a few places was. But I just stayed and I had to get back home, Gerard.
You had
Gerard,
to get back home. But what did you come home to? That's what I'm trying to figure out. What was it that drove you back home? Because a lot of folks are going to tell me the same thing, man. I had to come back home. But I need y'all to tell me for real. When you came back home, did you come to what you expected or no?
I really didn't care. Because I knew it was sort of like it was maybe a new beginning. Because, I came back here. I ended up getting me a brand new truck. We moved in a nice house. Me and the family also. Things kind of went swell for us.
Man, you didn't have no cell service out here. You had to. That's when everybody started texting.
Yeah, I learned how to text then. Yes.
That's when everybody started texting. I was talking to all of my folks because I had to come back because I was working with a couple of different agencies. So I was back, and I had folks from all across the country that were telling me that they were trying to call and my phone wouldn't ring because you didn't have cell service. So that's when they started texting. And you know what the number one text was? I know you know. Here's the address to my house. Can you please go over there and see what my house looked like?
Yes. Oh, Gerard. During Katrina, my nephew stayed at his house in around Napoleon, up in that area, to protect his stuff, right? His wife, man, she was calling me. And I was in Houston, told me to go see about him like he was around the corner. That's how her mind was.
All right, so here go one for you. Here go one for you, though. Here go one for you, Cedric. Now, your current president has said that he is going to cut the weather service. So I don't know if we're going to have the forecasting that we're going to need with the hurricane season coming up in June. And then the other part of it, they're cutting all the grants for FEMA. So if we do get hit again, are we going to have that money that's going to match or at least become equal to what you had before to get you back up and help you again? And if that's going to get cut, you know that the small business grants are going to get cut too. Would you then say I ain't coming back?
If we got to figure out something. We can't keep on depending. I mean, especially this man talking crazy like that, you know. I mean, we got to do something. Maybe that's to give us a little more camaraderie. Because I got this thing I stole from somebody. You know, a lot of our ancestors had very few resources, but plenty of courage. We have lots of resources now, but we don't have the courage we had.
Well, had a what?
Don't have the courage.
You don't think
that our ancestors had?
No,
we ain't got no courage like them people had, man.
Yes, indeed. All right.
Hey, look, Gerard, one more thing.
Yes,
the
sir.
sister that called me first, I know about the introvert extrovert because I am pretty much an introvert. And what she's talking about, sometimes when you got that extrovert, you got to go out there and then you got to come back inside to recharge.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then my birth sign, you know, I'm into astrology. I'm the balancer. I'm the Libra, so I got everything got to be balanced. I'm kind of fair, too fair sometimes.
So you're extrovert,
and
introvert,
brother
and you
Kevin,
fair.
Gregarious, you're right, bro. We are some happy people, man.
Hallelujah.
We try to keep, we laugh to keep from crying sometimes.
Yeah, that is
You know,
true.
we got potholes on the interstate, and Franklin Avenue is all tore up.
Have you been down Franklin
Then
Avenue
when you get an
lately?
emergency, you get the road fixed right away.
Have you
Man,
been
we
down
tore up,
Franklin?
but I ain't going nowhere.
Have you been down Franklin Avenue lately?
No, I haven't been down there lately.
I'm talking like from 610 all the way to probably past Claiborne. Both Claibornes, north and south, or east and west, whichever one it is.
No, I haven't been that way in a minute.
Take a
But
drive.
I can imagine.
Take a drive and call me if you do it. And let me know.
Is that bad, Gerard?
Is that bad? I have never seen
But-
that
but
road,
you know
which
what,
is
though?
very
What
heavily
about
traveled,
emergency, man?
the way that it is now.
You know, Diamond Road was an emergency. Why we can't get emergency for, 1 month emergency for Franklin Avenue? Then the people complain enough about this one and that. You know, we don't do emergency enough, except for when we're trying to impress people.
Yeah, there you go. All right, Cedric. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Appreciate you. All right, talk to you in a minute. Pop Jones, hold on. We coming back. We got to do news here. Let me do the news, and we'll come right back with more. Our number, 504-582-9422. More coming up next.
From the campus of Xavier University, WBOK Go and Equity Media Station.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 things you should know with BIN News. Black Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson is starting early on the city's next budget, warning of major gaps ahead: $1.12 billion in 2026 and $1.32 billion in 2027. Budget meetings begin this month. Stocks are closing sharply lower after a relief rally fizzled. The major averages turned red after surging to start the day on news the U.S. was in tariff talks with trading partners. 16 people are charged in a New York City murder conspiracy tied to 21 shootings. Black Mayor Eric Adams and Black District Attorney Alvin Bragg say rival gangs were behind half the precinct's gun violence. And California may defy a Trump administration order to cut DEI programs despite threats to pull billions in funding. State officials question the federal government's authority and are not urging districts to comply. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. 504-582-9422 is the number. Pop Jones.
Hey, G-Man.
What's going on
How you doing?
with you? How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful, man.
Yeah?
You're
not driving that truck today, are you?
What truck? No, I
heard the wife send back. She knew what truck it was. I heard her. She
Yeah,
said you're
I
driving
got
that
a
message
chauffeur.
truck. You ain't driving that truck today.
You could have a chauffeur too. You got too many irons in the fire.
I got 2 irons in the fire?
Too many.
Why you say that?
Well, I'm not gonna go into that.
Okay.
I'm your friend.
Always.
Yes, indeed. So my lips are sealed.
I got you.
Okay. But look, Gerard. I was in Indianapolis, Indiana.
What you doing in Indianapolis?
Well, I was filing a group called Eastern Kentucky Coal.
I thought you was trying to
Coal
be like
Miner
the
Reunion.
I thought you were trying to be like the Jackson 5 or something.
Man, no. Look. Well, look. I done been there. I got pictures.
Well, okay.
That I done took of the house where they were born.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I got pictures of it in Gary. In Gary, Indiana.
Right.
But anyway, G-Man, we looking at the TV, and we seen them guys running with TVs and all that stuff during the storm. And so what happened? We left and went to Wisconsin for maybe for a couple of nights. Then we wound up going to Chicago. And we stayed in Chicago for like 4 months. And they didn't. Everybody was trying to get us to stay with them because they figured we had money. We had no money. No, they didn't give us no money. But Chicago gave us place to stay and plenty of food. We had cable TV and was able. And during the 4 months, I came home for 2 weeks, check on my house, and then I went on back. So I stayed in Chicago. They treated us pretty good, but no money, place to stay, food, something to buy, some more clothes, and different stuff that we needed, But also, Chicago treated us decently. Like I said, we wasn't looking. All we needed was we got a free place to stay. We had our own transportation, so we did all right. But I hear about a lot of people. They got money. When we finally came home, a Samaritan priest helped us and rode home. Helped me to bring the house back.
I hope
but
I had
no
like rode
intention.
home again.
I had no intention of staying nowhere else. Like a lot of people stayed in Texas, stayed in all these places.
You were coming home.
Yeah, man.
But what was it, Pop?
Had my eyes.
What was it that said we going back home. What was it that stayed in your head to say we going back home? Even if we ain't got everything we need right now, we still going back home.
Well, maybe I'm just a die-hard, and I just have no intention of staying nowhere else. So I don't know, a lot of people not satisfied, but the joy I have, the world didn't give it to me.
And the world can't
The
take it
world
away.
can't take it away.
Yeah.
So I'm good wherever, you know.
Okay. All right. I went to a couple of places. That's the first thing that I had, and I got to tell you.
Oh, that's right. You were here at that time.
Yes, I was here. I was
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
And then I'll tell you, it's a couple of things that happened to me because of I did not go home first when meaning back to North Carolina.
Oh, you didn't go home.
I did go home, but when I did go home, it was interesting to me, and somebody else is going to call me and tell me that the same thing happened to them, but not at my house. But when I went home, it was like everybody in the country was watching what happened to Louisiana. And when I went home, which I really appreciated, and God, thank you for all those folks. My mother and my grandmother, who was alive then, was letting everybody in the county know that I was coming back home. And then it was like everybody just showed up with giving something. They were like, "Here go $20 here." So people were bringing money to me, which I appreciated it.
No.
They're bringing cash money. Then the other part of it is, I also had a telephone call from Houston, and it was, my folks in Houston calling me and saying, "Hey, look, somebody wants to talk to you." And I ended up going back down, and I went to Houston, and I ended up, being a part of Gateway's church. Gateway is, for those who don't know what Gateway is, that's Joel Osteen's church. Joel Osteen treated me like I was his son.
Oh, okay, yeah. I wasn't familiar with him at that time.
So so I ended up working with his church, Gateway, for a long period of time, and then I came back to Louisiana because my daughter was then living in Baton Rouge, and she was like, "Dad, I need you to come home." So I came back home and got her, and then I went back to New Orleans, and I was boots on the ground too with, walking the different areas and putting the X's on the doors and searching. I saw a lot of stuff that I should have never seen. Even down in places like Wyclosky and all of that. I had never been down there. I had been here, at least 10, 15 years then. I had never been to Wyclosky, and I saw some stuff that I should have never seen.
Your girls was around at that time?
Yeah, my daughter was. She was here, but they moved to Baton Rouge.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. So then I just came back here, was working with several different agencies doing, cleanup and doing all those different separating. And that's why I knew so much when I met Alvin Richards with the garbage contracts and all that other stuff. That's why I knew so much, because I had taken the classes about, the garbage, what's garbage, what's waste, what's the different demolition stuff. And I had learned all that, so I'm on the air talking about it, and they heard it, and they were like, "Man, we need an interview." I'm like, "Come on."
Well, gee, man.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a house here at that time?
Had two.
Oh, wow.
I had a house off of LaFouche Street.
What happened to them?
It got destroyed. It was on LaFouche Street in the east.
Oh, yeah. Mine didn't get destroyed, but his was a blessing to me. Samaritan Police came in and stripped my house.
Mm-hmm.
And, man, I had termites galore in my house.
My house is right on the corner of Morrison Road and LaFouche.
Okay.
And, it flooded. We had to gut it and take all the sheetrock from 4 feet up.
Yeah.
We messed up. It messed up all of my kitchen appliances and everything. All all my career photos of all the famous people that I had taken photos
that's a mess there. You can't replace that.
Can't replace it. Can't replace it. So all the photos of in my entire career that I had of people were destroyed. All of my platinum records, a lot of them got destroyed. My baby pictures did not, because I had put them on a.
Man!
So I got my daughter's pictures. I got those. I got some of my stuff, but I didn't get all of it. I had an album collection that was out of this world.
That's what I lost.
Destroyed.
I lost a lot of my stuff, but I still got ghouls of the music.
I had probably
CDs,
a whole room of albums, collectibles. People that I had met that had done those. The Stevie Wonder collection, which he had signed. The Prince collection, he had signed it.
Top shape, you had some.
All that destroyed. I had to throw it away. It had molded.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow.
Was not going to be cleaned. A lot of it had moved from one side. A lot of it was broken because of the falling of the shelves and all that other stuff. So a lot of my collectibles and things of that sort, I lost.
Yeah, well, G-Man, you know Samaritan Place is, huh?
Yeah. You need the organization when they come in and they do the work. That's boots on the ground for real.
You know who's the leader of that group?
Who's that?
Franklin Graham.
Yes, you're correct.
Yeah, and they had another group. Well, we didn't need them. We got Road Home, and that helped. But the most thing that helped us was them guys were just coming here from out of town working.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to get one to bring my house back. And that was a beautiful thing. In other words,
I sold one in the East, pennies on the dollar.
Okay.
And then I had one on the West Bank in Gretna. And
you did? Where they Gretna, G-Man?
Yeah, right off of Bell Chase Highway.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know what that is.
And then ended up selling that one too.
Well, you a West Bank man too.
Yeah, I lived on the West Bank more than I lived on the East Bank.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sure did. I love the West Bank. West Bank is
wow.
To me, in my opinion, the West Bank is cheaper.
Where's the best bank?
And the area is more. You get more area for your buck.
And G-Man, I don't want to get in no trouble though.
You getting ready to crank up the messy bus?
They say you're not a citizen.
What?
And you done been on both sides.
Yeah, there you
the
go with
West
the messy
Bank
bus.
And the
I
East
knew
Bank?
the messy bus was gonna get cranked up at some point in time, and you got the keys. Mm-hmm.
When you gonna become a citizen?
There he is. Not only that, he done put it in drive and looking out the window, about to back that thing up. Mm-hmm.
35 years.
Oh, blow the horn. Mm-hmm. There you go. All right, messy bus.
All right, G-Man.
I'm gonna let you go. All right, I'll talk to you later.
All right. Okay.
Bye-bye. That Pa Jones know he driving the messy bus. Driving that messy bus. And there he is. What you say, Mark? Mark, call me back. Yep, call me back. All right, 504-582-9422. So this year is going to be the 20-year anniversary of Katrina. It's going to be the 20th year. And I done met with a couple of folks, one of which he is a film producer and getting ready to put together a documentary. But one of the discussions that we had about this documentary about Katrina was trying to put, and I think this is got to be this way, put together a documentary and talk about the stories that were never heard. We already know the stories about, the guys and the bread and the people down in the not having conversations and doing all this other stuff, and the comparisons of the white people to the black people. When white people were in the water and had the bread, they were trying to survive, but the black people were in the water with groceries and stuff they were stealing, So that was one of the conversations. But I also wanted to hear the conversation with those stories with no one telling those stories. Who would have ever thunk about some of the stories that we didn't hear? And that's what we wanted to hear for the 20th year anniversary. What you say, Ronald?
Well, I never told it before. I'm willing to tell it today.
Okay.
I didn't leave. I got on with another agency. I'm not going to say who it is right now. But I was at Walmart at Chapatoulas when the manager let folks take food, no clothes. And they took few clothes, but they let them take the food. The police was right there when that was going on. The 6th District was right there. I watched it, Braylon, Paul, two other people at the time in Renault when they was doing some magnificent things in their city.
Mm-hmm.
I saw men holding back tears and buckling up lips to keep a straight face, and I was afforded that opportunity to be in their company. I've seen myself at 2 or 3 times. I witnessed New Orleans police in the St. Bernard Project. A baby fell over the boat, all right? And he couldn't swim, but he jumped in the water and saved the baby. And later on that night, he realized he couldn't swim. And those things happen. I've seen people sharing food on the bridge, sharing Tic Tac gum, candy. I saw this, and I listened to some of the stories. I went into the Lower Ninth Ward, and we saw some people after it was over. And I listened to Mr. Goodman crying his voice when his mother houses had went under. And I said, I do know what happened to Katrina.
Mm-hmm.
I know Plano police, they did a number to me, but if you know me, you know I did my number back. All right. And at the end of the day, I saw some amazing things of people and character and resilience in the eyes of people that I know personally. I remember the bright time when I saw Oliver Thomas. I saw several other people. I saw Ray Nagin. I saw the human in their faces at the suffering of people. And everybody, I don't get out and beat my drum, but I was there when a lot of this stuff was going down. Even got a joke from the President of the United States, George Bush. And so we saw that. And one of my biggest things, Cafe Reconcile, I was on the board at the time, and they didn't have a burglar alarm. They just locked the door. And nobody did anything to Cafe Reconcile broke in because it served the community.
Mm-hmm.
Barbara Lacey gave my daughter a pair of $500 Louis Vuitton glasses, and we lost everything in the house but the glasses because I set them on top of the icebox.
And the icebox ended up floating.
Everything went out but the glasses. I would have never, ever purchased a pair of glasses for my daughter. And this is what happened. During the development of Central City and revitalization of New Orleans, my children was babies, and I brought them to all of the meetings. To bring back New Orleans meeting, they had 4 African-Americans at the time, Al Mims, Priscilla Evans, and Barbara Lacey. We were the very first to bring back New Orleans. And as time come in, other folks came back. But we were there when they were talking about green space. We were there when they wanted to eliminate certain areas. And when Mama D came along, the reason she wasn't at the first meeting, Mama D was bringing people backwards and forward to Baton Rouge and the Place in a raggedy car that somebody gave her.
Mm-hmm.
Reverend Brown had a car with a hole in the back, and he was bringing people out of New Orleans in a car. We were giving them gas money. And I witnessed this. I lived through this with Katrina, and nobody complained. They just concerned for other people and their well-being. But I always use the story to classify this. Dorothy said something in Wizard of Oz that she did not lie. There's no place like home. At the end of the day, we witnessed our people home, and they made sure it was home for everybody. Folks that was here, I know we ran short, but folks was doing their things. I was with my brother John over at the American Can Company when he was a straight-up hero, and I watched this guy, and they were shooting at him out the helicopter. All right, this is real stuff that happened. I was right there, and it was so amazing. And the guy, he never wavered, but his thing was to get the people out the building. When the little guy took the bus and was going up the interstate, I witnessed that. I witnessed the police being shot in the head at the gas station in Algiers. It was just going, and this the things that was going on. But I listened at some of these people, they'd be testifying about Katrina, not testifying, testifying that all these things happened. And at that year in October, the Data magazine, they was trying to get to Brother Mims, but he was getting people out everything. And he tried to talk to us about it. And I did the trailblazer with him. We told him some of the story. But Brother John, I can't think of his name, but he was the guy from the American Can. He did some great things. And all the names that I called, I watched Graylin and Paul and those people, they was into it every day. Yeah. So I thank you for this opportunity, Gerard, to get this message out to folks. Like I said, some of them are testing the line and some of them are telling the truth.
Yep. Always.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Ronald.
Thank you, big brother. Thank you.
Holla. All right, more coming up, y'all. We got more in just a minute. Everybody hold tight, but you can get your calls in at 504-582-9422. More coming up next.
That's right. It's party time each and every Sunday night at 7 p.m. on WBOK. It's the Throwback Throwdown with DJ Wick as he brings you the best in old school from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and the early 2Ks. Plus, the party goes to another level at 9 p.m. with the Throwback Throwdown Party Mix to round out the night. It's the Throwback Throwdown Sunday nights at 7 p.m. on WBOK 1230 a.m. and on the World Wide Web at WBOK1230.com.
NOLA Public Schools is excited for the rest of this 24-25 school year journey with our families, watching our students dive into learning, growth, and success. As the school year continues, our dedicated educators are focused on keeping every student engaged and motivated. Let's keep embracing new challenges, celebrating achievements, and supporting each other to make the rest of this year even more impactful. Stay connected with your school and NOLA PS through our social media channels for updates and resources. We're here to help our scholars attend today, achieve tomorrow.
Hi, this is Cary Grant. Let's elevate every Tuesday through Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. as we discuss the community, the country, and the world, from politics to current events and sports. We look forward to your input and continuing the quality programming on your community station, WBOK. Join us every Tuesday through Thursday, 6 to 7 p.m. on Elevated Conversations, the Arnie and Cary Show.
Saints of God, it's time for us to tell you the truth. It's time for you to start your 21-day challenge. Don't take another day. Do it right now. Call 504-701-4711. That's the Whole Water Store, Pastor David Impartian Sr., the host of Change Your Water, Change Your Mind. This is the water that's designed to change your body, the way you think, the way you act, and the way you look. Why don't you start your 21-day challenge today? For $35, you can start it right now. Call me so we can set up your appointment. 504-701-4711. That's 504-701-4711. Change your water, change your mind.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM. The Reality Check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. Boy, just talking about the issues of New Orleans, even going into Hurricane Katrina. And one of the things I got to bring up in this conversation, because if you don't talk about this in this conversation, I think we'd be doing a disservice to a whole bunch of people. And I don't know what it is, but I still have not gotten over it, even though that it didn't affect me the way that it has affected a lot of folks. The Road Home program. I'm going to sit here and wait. I'm going to give you the number. 504-582-9422. If we want to talk about a disservice to a lot of people that look like me and you, I think one of the worst things that ever happened to this city was not just the rebuilding of it, but the company that I think held you hostage about your own property, where even James Perry had to sue because they were charging or getting more money in Lakeview than they were in the lower Ninth Ward. And I'll never forget, because I think I went to one of those court cases. And this what made me go, you know what? That's right. I never thought about it in the same context as I heard James Perry's law firm at that time for equal housing. And I never thought about it this way, but they were giving more money for sheetrock to rebuild houses in the lower and close to Lakeview, or if you were somewhere near Lakeview, they were giving you more money to rebuild your house in Lakeview than they were in the lower 9. And I'll never forget when James Perry stood up and he said, "How much is sheetrock?" When they were talking to the people from the state. And the man said, "I don't know." And James Perry said, "We're getting sheetrock sent in from all these different places from all across the country. And sheetrock is somewhere close to $8 for a regular, 4x8 or 4x12 piece of sheetrock, right? But you all are charging more per square foot to rebuild houses in the lower 9th Ward than you are for those houses in Lakeview. So we're actually paying more for sheetrock to rebuild a house in the lower 9th Ward than we are to rebuild a house in Lakeview. Why is that? And I heard somebody in the audience, they were whispering, and they said, "Somebody need to go get that N-word." And I turned around and I looked at him. Boy, that N-word came out of me. I was ready to deck him because I wasn't the only person that heard him. So I was like, after this over with, when we get outside, it's getting ready to be on with these crackers. And I don't call white people that. But them, yeah, I did. I did for a reason. Because there was more prejudicisms. That was the second time. That was the first time. The second time was when they were getting ready to build that apartment complex down in Chalmette. And they were sitting there saying somebody need to get that N-word. And I was thinking to myself, what year is this? We still have these things going on? Maybe I was in denial. Just maybe I was in denial. But I sat down there and I said to myself, it's getting ready to be on up in here, up in here, up in here. Sometimes you just got to pop out and show them. I'm like Kendrick Lamar. But I had never been in a situation where folks were steadily saying that they're charging you more if you got a house in a black area of New Orleans to rebuild it than they are in the bigger houses in Lakeview and uptown near St. Charles Avenue. People were getting more money to rebuild houses on St. Charles Avenue than they were in the flooded areas. And if you notice what I use the flooded areas speaking about where we have our houses compared to St. Charles Avenue. Because a lot of folks don't realize St. Charles Avenue did not flood. So yesterday, I had a good lunch yesterday. I had a great lunch yesterday. I was sitting there at Houston's. I was talking to one of my friends, and I was talking to him. I got a chance to see, the who's who of the city was coming through having lunch. And one of the folks that I forgot to tell everybody about that was at Houston's and was walking out the door was Mitchell Andrew. Now, everybody know my relationship with him has not been the best. All right, let me be honest with you. He can't stand me, and I can't stand him. I just put it that way. But he was cordial. He said, "Hey, how you doing? Good to see you." I shook his hand. "Hey, good to see you, too. How you doing, Mr. Mayor?" But it still bothers me that it was under his leadership that he took all that money and replaced those pipes underground on St. Charles Avenue all the way down Napoleon to Washington Avenue. And that area of the city was not flooded. They got new pipes. See, with Ray Nagin, which I have a good conversation with Ray Nagin made it a point to tell me, he said, gee, we gonna have to replace these pipes underneath the ground. I said, why, sir? Da-da-da-da, yada-yada. He was like, no, you got to think about something. The weight of all that water when the city flooded was sitting on that road and them pipes for weeks at a time. We're going to have major leaks whenever they dewater the city. And I thought about that. I was like, man, how much weight was sitting on those pipes, and how much weight was sitting on that road? And I was thinking to myself, I was like, so we're going to have some really messed up roads in a short period of time. Look where we at now. And we're going to have some messed up pipes, water pipes, because all them pipes are 100 years plus old, and they going to be leaking, busting at the seams because they need to be replaced. Look where we are. Because for a minute there, I thought that the city was just, busting at the seams because we had water spraying everywhere. Well, here goes another situation. Y'all think about this. When I first moved to New Orleans, and they talk about flooding, they didn't talk about uptown flooding. Did uptown used to flood? But I was saying to myself, couldn't happen to a better place. And I know those people uptown was like, what did he just say? No. For a reason. Because I know they were going to complain. Then Lakeview started flooding. Messing up the roads. Couldn't happen to a better place. What did he just say? I said that for a reason. Well, what you talking about? Because what those members of the community ended up doing is forming organizations that was beating down the administration, Landrieu's administration. I can remember I got this guy. He was on Twitter, and I sent him a tweet basically saying, hey, man, I need to interview you, yada, yada, yada. He got that, and he called me immediately. And it was the organization that had the red, y'all remember this stuff? It had the red signs that said, fix my streets. We pay taxes too. They got organized. Next thing I know, there was a meeting going on. Next thing I know, there was construction happening in their parts of the city. But what happened to those folks in the Lower Nine? I went down Lazardi Street, and it was like, it was the Range Rover obstacle course. I'm like, what the hell? This ain't no street. And we can't keep just filling in potholes with asphalt or gravel. I was coming off of Carrollton and went over there by McDonald's. I used to do a live broadcast every week by McDonald's when Terry Scott owned that McDonald's on Carrollton. The street that goes right down past or is parallel to that McDonald's, we had to duck and dodge to drive down that street. And I guess I complained so much that instead of fixing it and putting asphalt down, a big old sewage and water board truck came through, and they just dumped a whole bunch of gravel on that street to make it even. That gravel gone now. So guess what it is? It is back to where it was before. But if you think about what I'm talking about, with all the issues of streets, water, high cost of insurance, high cost of mortgages, where else can we go? High cost of schooling, inflation, all these different things that I'm talking about, it makes me ask the question to you, what keeps you here? What is it? What is it that keeps you here? Come on, y'all. Don't leave me hanging on this. 504-582-9422. Well, it's home, Gerard. No. Home is where you make it. Well, my friends are here. Friends are where you make them. Is it the food? Because there's a whole bunch of people that can cook that have left here that still cook the same. Y'all got too much butter? And my cousin eating too much salt. Y'all heard him talk about his high blood pressure. But I don't want us to lose out on some things. And I'm trying to figure out, what are we doing to get them? Well, why'd you bring this conversation up in your conversation, G? I'm glad y'all asked. It is imperative that we start having conversations about what you want your next leadership to do. It's disturbing to hear that this is a city that had $2 billion to fix roads. And what came back in the news, which I don't know if it's true or not, but evidently it is because ain't nobody fighting about it, is that we $800 million in a deficit. What? So it makes me ask the question, are the roads that we are fixing important enough to this city compared to the roads that we not fixing? I have no problem, but I do have a problem because I need to put out a disclaimer here. Because somebody going to call me from that district and say, you don't know what you're talking about. Let me talk about Dowman Road for a minute. Dowman got fixed, repaved, looking scrumptious. Look like it's a new road altogether. All right. But it still makes me ask the question, fixing the road, the curves, making sure that they have that, you know, that they got that new, that ramp for wheelchairs and all that other stuff. That's cool. Great job. But if you drove down from, let me see, Haynes all the way to I-10, what would you say? Now, let me clarify something because some folks will be like, you wrong, you wrong, you wrong. That is not considered in the boundaries of New Orleans East. That is not considered New Orleans East. Am I right in saying that? Somebody tell me that. That is not considered New Orleans East. Dowman Road is not considered New Orleans East. That's another district. It is. That is Eugene Green's district. That is not Olivos district. So that would not be considered District E. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I'm right. Now, here's the test, ladies and gentlemen. And come on with the truth. Tell it and shame the devil. They got all that new asphalt. I ain't say asphalt. I said asphalt. That's District D. Jacqueline, you are correct. They got all them stripes on the ground. It's new. Ooh-wee, it's new. But here go the question for you. Does it look new? Does the district in that area where they done all this paving from the rooter to the tutor, how does that area look to you? Come on, somebody. 504-582-9422. What needs to be done? I'll sit here and wait for you. Because I do not think that just paving the road is the answer. Y'all want me to sing my old Negro spiritual hymn on this one? I will. Just to make sure that don't nobody get in trouble. We got the blessings of Jesus. Hallelujah. But what is it? Because somebody going to say it. Somebody is going to say it. It might as well be you or me. What does it look like? 504-582. That's for y'all scared. Y'all chicken. I thought I had some players on this team. There you go, Jacqueline. Jacqueline said online that it looks blighted. So it makes me ask the question in community development, who is that person? Because I know a lot of this had to go through the state. I think that Joe Bowie had a lot to do with it too, Dr. Joe Bowie, with the repaving of that area. But it makes me ask the question, it ain't just the street. It makes me ask the question, what about the beautification of the area? It still looks desolate to me. Am I wrong? And I'm not talking about anybody's property in particular, but it makes me ask the question, did anybody draw up some type of diagrams to say, hey, look, these houses are here, this is here. We need to do this to the sidewalk because the sidewalk needs to be fixed. We need to make sure that the lighting is done, or we need to put the LEDs in. Some of those signs on some of the businesses need to be revamped. Some of the houses need to be painted. We need to get a lot of the houses with them cars that's just sitting there that's broke. We need to get them moved. Some of the businesses are just there. They need some help. Because I don't see that in certain areas. I don't see that off of Magazine Street. I went down Magazine this week and I was like, dang, this looks like a whole new area. What do we need to do to get our areas up and better? Maybe we just need to get together and have a community development plan. You don't say. Who would do that? The people with someone from government. I'm just saying. All right, we got to take our final break here. We'll take our final break for the day. and we'll come back and get ready to wrap up. We'll take your calls too, 504-582-9422. More coming up.
AURN News.
I'm Ebony McMorris. Harriet Tubman was nearly ghosted from her own story. The National Park Service is walking back quiet changes it made to its Underground Railroad webpage that dramatically downplayed Tubman's presence. Gone was a large photo of her. Gone was a powerful quote, and the word slavery nowhere in sight until paragraph 3. Instead, the revised page focused on American ideals of liberty, as if Tubman didn't put her life on the line against a country that denied liberty to black people. Let's be clear, Tubman wasn't a footnote in this history, she was the movement. Following a Sunday report by the Washington Post and backlash from historians and educators, the page has been restored. But the move raises serious concerns, especially in a political climate where anti-DEI agendas are scrubbing by history out of federal spaces. If there's one thing Harriet Tubman taught us, it's never to stop moving forward. For AURN News, I'm Ebony McMorris.
It's Off the Top with Norman Robinson on WBOK 1230 AM.
Deceitful, exasperating, incompetent, and just right out lying are all words that come to mind when thinking about the Trump administration's attempt to explain how a high-level classified war conversation about a planned U.S. military bombing attack against the Houthi terrorists in Yemen ended up on an unsecured private chat app called Signal. The document ended up being sent to the chief editor at Atlantic Magazine. And that, my friends, is jaw-dropping. The Atlantic revealed that the planned attack in Yemen was being discussed in text messages among National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, members of the intelligence community, and other Trump administration officials. Defense Secretary Hegseth and the White House, among others in the group, scrambled to contain the fallout. Hegseth told reporters that, quote, they even changed the title to attack plans because they know it's not war plans, end quote. Not so, says The Atlantic in its latest news article, reporting that the text messages laid out the exact time the attack plans were supposed to launch, what time the bombs were to strike, and when the drones were to be launched. The magazine also revealed that the text messages included comments from Defense Secretary Hegseth and others discussing their dislike for our European allies. Not surprising, our allies view the unsecured group chat as a security breach that could factor in on their decisions about sharing intelligence information with the United States. Allies aside, I can only imagine what such a reckless and irresponsible act by high-level defense and intelligence official does to the morale and confidence of the rank and file of the U.S. military, who depend on these top-level officials for their safety and security. Will anyone in the Trump administration be held accountable for this disaster? You would be held responsible if you shared a confidential business plan like this, and they should be held responsible too. This is Norman Robinson, Off the Top.
Attention, WBOK listeners. Are you a fan of the station and want to show your support and style? Well, we've got some exciting news for you. Introducing the official WBOK merchandise, the perfect way to wear your love for the station. Whether you're a longtime listener or a new fan, we've got something for everyone. Head to WBOK1230.com now and grab your WBOK gear before it's gone. When you buy WBOK merch, you're not just getting quality items, you're supporting the station you love.
Jazz Fest 2025 is almost here. Don't miss Lil Wayne and The Roots, Lenny Kravitz, Burna Boy, Thames, Patti LaBelle, Trombone Shorty, Gladys Knight, Babyface, Tank and the Bangers, Branford Marsalis, Kamasi Washington, The Wailers, featuring Julian Marley, Lettucey Sings Nina, and hundreds more at the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival. Presented by Shell, April 24th through May 4th. Tickets and info at NOJazzFest.com. Miller Lite, official sponsor of Jazz Fest.
Welcome to Chemical of the Month by the community scientists at Rise St. James. This month, we spotlight phthalates, chemicals added to plastics, especially PVC, to make them more flexible and durable. But there's more. Research shows phthalates may disrupt hormones, affect reproductive health, and contribute to environmental pollution impacting our communities. Join us as we explore how these additives shape our everyday lives and the world around us. For more details, visit risestjames.org. Empower your knowledge with Rise.
Do you know what United Way can do for you and your community? Find out by listening to United Way and You every Thursday at noon on WBOK 1230. United Way continues to fight for the most vulnerable members of the community. Find out how this Thursday and every Thursday at noon.
When you talk, we listen. WBOK. The Reality Check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. Coming up at 6 today, make sure you check out Arne and Carrie. They're going to be in the building just about 6 o'clock, right after news. Make sure you check them out. Lorraine, thank you for holding. How you doing?
Hey, Gerard. Great afternoon. Thank you for taking my call. I was calling to make the comment about what you were saying about Diamond Road. When they redeveloped Perrette Street and Magazine Street, because you said you just been on Magazine, and it looks so totally new, you're correct. So why couldn't they take the same plan and kind of expound on it for Diamond Road? Because there's no economic development on Diamond Road. And I'm sure there's some small businesses that could afford, to purchase or even just lease some of those, properties for businesses. So, what happened to that plan? Could they just take Perrette Street plan and kind of use that as a template to expound on Diamond?
So some things that you are saying it's totally correct, because you really don't have to reinvent the wheel. Sometimes it's better to emulate something that works instead of trying to make a new deal. But one of the issues that came up during the time where I know there was some planning, and I would say a lot of the planning to redevelop New Orleans East in that area, and also including the Diamond Road area, those meetings we didn't show up to. Some of us did. Now, don't get it wrong, because I don't want to say that everybody didn't, but a lot of us didn't show up to those meetings, and special interest groups did.
Well, they could. How did they announce the meeting? Because I know WBOK is very good at feeding information to the public.
Well, not only did we announce the meetings, I wanted to broadcast them. They didn't want me to do that.
Okay. That's my point exactly. They really didn't want us to show up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my point exactly. So maybe we can get them to go back to the table and see about some economic development or some community.
I don't think that's a bad idea. We need to talk to our reps, and some of those reps are getting ready to run for office. Before you represent me, I need you to talk to me about what's your economic development plan.
Right. And thank you for bringing up the point and letting people know the boundaries, that is actually not District E, that's District D.
Yes.
Thank you. Because a lot of people don't know that.
Yep, it is. So you are correct. Thank you, my dear.
Thank you.
All
Have
right,
a great
talk to you
evening.
later. Bye-bye. All right, Sean, what you say? Sean? Sean, call me back. All right, so as we get ready to close it down for a day, these are the things that I want us to start concentrate on. And I give all this credit in this conversation to Don Hubbard. Don Hubbard told me, you ain't as dumb as you look. But you need to start having some of these local conversations, G. All that stuff you talking about with Trump and all this other stuff. That's cool, but all politics is local. And it made me think, we got local elections coming up. We got millages that's coming. Y'all know there's an election, this election coming up in May. Is it May? It is May, yeah. In May is a millage. It's going to be, I think, one thing on that election, and I'm hoping everybody will show up. And I'm telling everybody, I'm going to do it because I'm biased. Vote for it. It's not new money. It is a renewal, and it's going toward monies that we already have now that's going to the sheriff's department to house, feed, get them to their appointments, hopefully help out with this new facility that is being built over off of Perdido Street with the mental health issue. And that's going to allow us to have some stuff that I know that we're going to need. And I'm going to invite the sheriff and a couple other folks in the department to come over and have some conversation about it too in the next couple of days. So y'all stay tuned for that. All right. All right. We're getting ready to get out of here. I appreciate everybody for being a part of the conversation today. Be back tomorrow. It's at 4:00. Y'all come on out. All right. Y'all come on out. Make sure you're a part of that conversation, because everything that we talk about is a necessity to you. It's a necessity to you. Economic development was promised in the last election, or should I say 8 years ago. And we got a couple of things. We got a new entertainment venue. What's that? Top Golf. They're getting ready to open up in May. What else did we get? It's not Top Golf then. It's 504. You're right. Thank you. And they're going to get me for that one. So those are the things that we want to hear about. And honestly, I want to know about this new development that they're going to have right off of the river, too. We'll ask one of our council people to come in and talk about that, too. But y'all are hearing this stuff, some of it for the first time. But that's okay. All right, y'all, that's going to wrap it up for me. I'll see you tomorrow, 4:00. Whatever you do, safely, carefully is the way we want you to do it. Arnie and Carrie coming up next, right here at WBOK.